That's right. It's Nerd Thug Radio. We're on 104.5, 106.1, the sister stations. I feel like we're accepting an Oscar right now, but being played off stage. One of the two of the morons wanted to hear the Jurassic Park theme song coming in this break. I don't know why. Anyway, IRLoneStar.com. We're streaming worldwide. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on all things. This is Corey DLG. With me, as always,
Nico DLG.
the boy in the box. And then with us today as a special guest, part of the DLG takeover, Sticky Vicky.
What up?
Boom.
That's awful. Before we get too far into it.
Good intro.
Right, yeah. Nailed it. Before we get too far into it, Nico, why don't you go ahead and tell us about our friends, Space Cadets Gaming.
Well, with summer here and the kids need out of the house, they should go to Space Cadets. With a large selection of comic books, collectible card games, role-playing games, board games, and all in a family-friendly atmosphere, what more could a person ask for? Space Cadets Gaming has magic on Friday nights, not Friday Night Magic. There's a difference. And various events scheduled throughout the week.
Ooh,
I speak English.
Yeah.
And especially weekends. Dungeons and Dragons, Family Game Night, they got it all. Space Cadets Gaming.
On Robinson Road?
In the Woodlands, or Oak Ridge.
Yeah, Oak Ridge. Yeah, that's the correction that I've been given, is that it's in Oak Ridge. But you can find Oak Ridge by going to the Woodlands. Right, because they're
Next
adjacent neighbors. Yeah, actually, we shared a post from them the other day. They're looking for more adventure gamers for Dungeons and Dragons. I believe it's on Thursdays. But yeah, anyway, they got games all the time. It's BMAC. We love BMAC. We love gaming. We love Space Cadets.
It's a fact.
It is. We've been filming our live HeroClix events there. Mm-hmm. We've got another date coming up. We're going to announce it here pretty soon. And very, very soon, we're getting ready to go to the television with that. So get your party pants on, people. Speaking of television, I have a story here. It will haunt you to your bones. It will chill you to your very core. And that's my Tales from the Crypt impression. TNT had previously announced recently they were going to do a reboot of Tales from the Crypt. Anybody heard about this?
Oh, no, I hadn't.
No.
So, in kind of unusual fashion for TV, and TNT especially, they usually have their stuff together. Mm-hmm. They're not going to anymore. San Diego Comic-Con came and went, and people were kind of like, I'm a little surprised I didn't see anything from TNT about Tales from the Crypt. And so they reached out to the people who had announced that they were working on it, and the quote they got back is that the rights for this show are a train wreck. The rights for this thing are everywhere. Apparently, Tales from the Crypt was a show on HBO, and then before that it was a comic book way back in the day. And the 1990s HBO series, they only owned some of the stories from Tales of the Crypt because Tales from the Crypt had sold the rights for stories piecemeal throughout the life of the show. In other words, if someone liked one of the stories,
They could just buy it.
they would just buy the rights for that story. So when they sold the rights to 1990s HBO for Tales from the Crypt, they didn't have the rights to all of them. They just had the rights to some of them. And then on top of that, they also borrowed stories from a couple of sister series called The Haunt of Fear and The Vault of Horror to kind of round out and give enough stories to do what they were doing with the seasons of Tales from the Crypt.
That makes sense.
So, a little bit surprising there that they made this announcement, and now that they realize post-announcement that they don't have all their ducks in a row.
Yeah, that sounds like something you definitely want to check in advance.
Right.
Before you tell everybody. That's like throwing a grand opening for a business and then realizing, oh, wait.
You don't have the ability to open one.
don't.
You don't have like your
Can't
tax
do
ID or
that.
something.
Right.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't. So
I need to open a business account, but I don't have it.
right.
An NWA?
No.
NWA? That's it?
That's the rap group.
NWA? The best group?
You don't need them to start a business.
DBA?
There you go.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Not the NWA?
If you have an NWA,
That sounds like a...
you could probably start several businesses, but none of those require paperwork.
Ah, dang.
Yeah. But so, yeah, it just seems, because a lot of times creators will say, like, hey, I'm working on something, I can't really say what yet, because they know that they can mess up deals by prematurely, like, if the rights aren't finished securing, and then interest gets drummed up in that particular property, a third party could swoop in and steal that project from you.
Yeah.
And so, basically, what happens in a lot of those situations is, you don't want to say too much until you've got your ducks in a row. So, I'm a little surprised at this. This seems a little odd. Nico, can you think of another time when something like this has kind of
No, I can't really think of another time this has happened. I mean, the only thing I could really compare it to that I would personally know would be like video game like development hell, where things get produced and then like they'll lose the rights or they don't have the money to finish a project, and then that project is like kicked around between like 5-6 studios, and then the game just never exists.
Right, and if it ever even comes out, it's the worst thing you've ever seen.
Right, Duke Nukem Forever. 25 years later, it's still terrible.
Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, you're right. That's the perfect example. Because, like, early 90s, Duke Nukem, everyone, oh, that's the best thing ever. And then very quickly after that, someone announced the sequel, and then that studio folded, and then the other studio got bought, and then moved, and no one knows who owns it, and then someone's making it, and then it's terrible.
Yeah, and then they finally make it. They're like, here's your Duke Nukem Forever, and it's awful.
Right. But yeah, so, just one of the interesting things there. Here's a question for you. Do you know if Joe Manganiello is still Deathstroke?
No.
You remember this? The guy from Magic Mike was going to be
Sofia
Deathstroke.
Vergara's husband?
Yes. Was going to be Deathstroke, the assassin of the DC Universe.
Ooh.
Snazzy.
Yeah, he was going to be in the Batman movie. From the script that was originally written between Ben Affleck and...
okay.
I don't remember who the other person was that helped him write it. Well, now that they've scrapped that script...
Jeff Johns?
Yeah, I think so. Now that they've scrapped that script, Joe Manganiello... How close am I on that? What do you think?
Mangelli.
I think it's...
I'm not going to
I
call
literally
him
want to say
that.
Maggiano's. But
Maggiano.
It's still like a
that's
pizza place.
Definitely. It's an Italian place. It's delicious.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, he knows if he's still Deathstroke or not. He actually, the other day they came to him and they pretty much point blank were like, what's up? And he was like, I don't know. I don't really know anything. And he goes, no, that's a lie. I do know, but I'm not allowed to say anything. You have to ask Warner Brothers and DC movies.
Right, yeah. He's not allowed to give that information away.
Right. But that's still kind of floating in the air at this point because he's actually got a pretty full schedule. He's actually starring in a movie right now. They're filming it with side by side with The Rock, Rampage, like the monster movie.
Oh, okay.
And then he's got a couple other things already lined up. So if he's supposed to be in Batman, they're going
What's he doing? Yeah, what's he doing?
They're going to have to figure that out. Did you guys see Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Heck yeah.
We saw it together.
Did you think it was so good that it should get an Oscar for either Best Picture or Best Director?
I don't think so.
That good?
I don't think so.
I
That's
think
a
it was a
personal thing.
really solid hero movie, and I think it's way
Right.
better than most of DC's.
Other endeavors.
Yeah. But I don't know. Best film?
I don't know. I don't think
know
so.
about that. Yeah.
I think there's so much I haven't seen personally that what I've seen, I don't think it's the best movie that I've seen this year.
So Warner Brothers has discussed an Oscar campaign. Keep in mind it does have a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's kind of a little out of place here because the nominations are typically announced in January. Mm-hmm. However, it sounds like they're internally considering really going full court here for Best Picture and Best Director. Patty Jenkins.
So because this is something I've never truly understood, maybe because I really haven't asked or really bothered to look into it, but are they based off of some sort of artistic quality, or are they based off of numbers, profits,
Okay.
Artistic
performance?
kind of a
supposed to
combination.
be it's supposed to be just artistic because the Academy is a collection of artists, directors,
Gotcha.
producers,
But
and
that's because
actors.
I feel like
and
a lot
actors.
of the
there's proper-
nominations sometimes are the smaller scale.
Right. Well,
Correct.
there's a lot of there's proper film like theory out there. Like this is how you make a good film. Like
Right.
you go to film school for that. Like it's a properly done. Like if something's well directed, you may not notice it, but like if
the director types, the art types do.
Right.
And so the
Right.
film art school people, that's kind of, yes, that's who's
But
supposed
also,
to be.
it's supposed to be if something's like really well directed, like in layman's terms, like a layman, like a regular person would be like, wow, that was really nice and really enjoyable. When something has bad directing, even like a regular person notices like everything was abrupt and garbage.
Right, exactly. And so from there, typically they don't campaign very hard, the studios. They present the movie to the Academy for their consideration. And one of the other things about this that's interesting is Gal Gadot is one of the newest members of the Academy. So essentially the Academy is like a number of this is made up, 400. It's 400 producers, directors, actors, and actresses. And they all get together and they vote on this stuff internally. And that's the nominations and the winners are the top 5 or whatever. So it's the people who are up for the awards are not supposed to do anything about winning.
Right.
If they do any sort of campaigning, they're immediately disqualified, and they get their picture disqualified. The Hurt Locker had a bit of an issue. One of the producers of that was disqualified because he actively campaigned for Hurt Locker to win Best Director.
Gotcha.
But so WB, though, Warner Bros. Itself is discussing putting a little weight to try and get some Oscar buzz.
I don't know how I feel so much. I think it's more of a buzz for like the common people. I'm not sure how impactful it'll be for like the actual people voting for it. So who knows?
I'll be honest. It's more of a.
Is it a shady thing? Do you think?
I think it's weird that she's on the panel who gets to vote and her movie's in the thing. Like I think that's a little bit weird.
I think but
that
if
probably
you're
happens
talking
way
about,
more than we know, though.
Probably.
Yeah, but also if you think about it, how much is her one vote really?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
That's
also a
fair.
point.
But what I think is a little weird is Warner Brothers is one of the big 3 or 4 Hollywood studios. Like,
Right.
for them to campaign for anything, doesn't that kind of like, could they spurn somebody who doesn't vote for them?
That's true.
Yeah, vote for Wonder Woman. And if you don't, if Patty Jenkins don't get that Oscar, you ain't ever making a Warner Brothers movie.
I mean, I think if that was involved, then yes, it's definitely shady.
But
But
that's also backdoor stuff.
That is backdoor stuff, but isn't that kind of implied? Like when someone powerful like that campaigns, like doesn't that kind of?
that's
Tips
true.
the balances.
Definitely puts a spin on it that
The-
maybe is not.
I'm just a little curious. So anyway, that was a big announcement. It would be interesting to see if that actually does happen. Also, I know the music's playing us out here, just like in the Oscars. Before we get out, I do want to mention The Dark Tower, Stephen King's newest motion picture adaptation, releases this weekend. Idris Elba, Matthew McConaughey.
Looks good.
It does look good. Gunslingers. I don't know anything about them, but they look really cool.
Right.
On that, we're going to get out of here for a break. When we come back, it's going to be the weekly top 3, and it's top franchises of pop culture.
Yay.